What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again. And yeah, that was a really, really nice way to start off the XFL season. I thought that Disney, ABC, ESPN, and XFL, everyone around them, they did a fantastic job. It felt big. It felt huge. It felt important. It was great. The presentation was wonderful. What Danny and The Rock did to be there at the beginning of the game and what they're going to do to be at every game this first week, I thought was excellent. And it is kind of a smart thing, you know, when you let people know that The Rock's going to be at the game, you might actually get some more butts in the seat and sell some more tickets to get to see The Rock. So it makes sense. The one thing that I will say is that, you know, when The Rock was kind of doing his thing and they were kind of, you know, kicking off that first game, maybe a little bit of a tighter shot. Really, that would have been the only thing. Instead of, you know, it was just too wide and they didn't really have enough fans in the stand to really get that really big, huge feel to where I think it would have been better had that things had, you know, been tighter shots up on, you know, the fans that were excited to be there and that with it. But all in all, I thought it was a great presentation. I thought it was done well. Officiating was great. I thought that they did a good job with it. The command center was wonderful. I loved it. I didn't feel like the officiating, you know, made a difference in this game. I felt like they facilitated this game and that they helped move this game along. I thought it was great. I thought it was done well. And the command center, you're getting things done in less than 30 seconds. Why does the NFL not use this to make sure that every call is done right? I have absolutely no clue. It doesn't make any sense to me because Dean Blandino and his team did a fantastic job with it. So those are my overall things about the production of the game. This game really was a game of two different halves. The first half, the Vipers dominated. In the second half, you could say that the Renegades dominated, but really the defense took advantage of the offense. And I will say that defense, even though the Vipers offense gave it up to that defense played lights out in the second half. They made great adjustments in the second half adjustments. Hat off to to Jay Hayes on making the adjustments to cause the issues for Luis Perez in this game. So game in two halves. You had the Vipers losing to the Renegades, the home team, 22-20, and this is exactly what the XFL needs and wants, is a close game. You know, you want to see these games where it keeps people watching all the way to the end because it's such a close game, and it wasn't bad football. It really wasn't bad football. It wasn't a bad game a bad close game to watch. It was a good close game all the way to the end. So I thought it was fantastic. Both the coaches did a pretty good job. I loved Rod Woodson's intensity. Sometimes it was a bit much, but listen, making it feel like these games matter really does make a big difference. And Bob Stoops, he has to figure out this 3-point system. Really does. Just go on. And I know what was going on in his head. He was excited about what was going on, and it's just, you've been doing something for so many years, it just kind of comes out, and I think that's what happened there. But back to these two teams, I think that the Vipers, they have a really, really good, solid core of wide receivers. Those guys did a fantastic job. So when I'm looking at it, you've got Jeff Badette, who kind of was the highlight, the guy that got open. He just seemed to find holes in things, and that was when Luis Perez had time. And then you had Sweeting and who kind of came in, got that other touchdown, and you made that really nice crossing play. Bryant had 4 catches, which kind of surprised me at the end. I was kind of like, oh, really? You did? That was kind of surprising. But yeah, Allison, Badette, I thought, Sweeting, Bryant, they have a really, really nice, They just have a really nice wide receiver room, and that I was really impressed with. Dylan made a good catch there for the conversion. Rushing the ball, they need to figure something out. Listen, I think that Dwayne Taylor did a really good job, and for his first time here in this type, bringing this style of offense that he brought in, I thought was great. He just needs to figure this out with this running scheme. The way that they ran the ball is not really going to work in this type of setting. They need to figure some things out, whether it be move some guys around to get some different packages to really be able to facilitate the run. And I know both teams really didn't run well. The Renegades were starting to figure things out later on in the game as they were wearing on that defense. They started to figure some things out, but Lovett has got to protect the ball. You don't let somebody rip the ball out of your hands. And two, I think maybe, I know that Rod Smith got 5 carries. He probably should have got more carries than that in this game. He did a fantastic job blocking and doing his part to protect Luis Perez, but you need to do a better job there. I wouldn't be surprised here come week 2 or 3, though, that Luis Perez gets benched. You just can't throw 2 pick sixes in a game. You can't do that. You have to be better with the ball than that. I mean, I know you've got a Cowboys fan talking to you like that, and we've got Dak Prescott who, if it weren't for his throws, they would have continued on in the playoffs. I understand that. Luis Perez didn't necessarily play terrible, but those are the type of things that have really kept him from really being the guy. He has all of the intangibles. There are times when he just falls apart, and it just felt like he fell apart in that second half. Up until that last drive, and it just happens. Nobody's open, and you get sacked on that last play, and that's how things go. Can't throw those pick sixes, though. You just can't. Those 3 turnovers they had were just devastating for them. I mean, that really is what changed the game. When you looked at this defense, and this defense really is a really nice defense. So when I look at this defense, wow, guys stand out. Stokes stood out to me right there on that, just on that defensive line, gobbling things up. Roberts was involved in everything. Beasley was involved in everything, and actually ended up with more tackles than what I thought he did, which we expected going in that he was going to do well. Avery played really well in the backfield and got the INT. I apologize. I did not put as much emphasis on the defense. I figured that this Viper team was going to have a good defense with Rod Woodson being the coach. I didn't realize that Dishman was going to was going to put together this type of a team. I thought it was fantastic. I think if they can. I think that this team, if they can figure some things out with the running game, either Perez clean things up or Hundley come in and run this thing, I think that this could be a really potent team. When I'm looking at the other team here, Pillett actually did he did a pretty good job for me. The difference really being here, Kyle Sloter's another one of those guys that likes to fling the ball around, and he does have some issues here and there throwing picks to where not really, yes, he had the pick right before half, but they were kind of trying to push the ball down the field. And so I don't know. Kind of take it for what it's worth with it there. I think he just got kind of caught up in the moment, but having him manage the game, I don't know how much more you're going to get out of him. But listen, he's a young guy. This is really his first shot as the guy in a professional type of a setting, to where I think that he has a lot to grow. And I was actually pleasantly pleased with him. They need to quit the stuff with killings, the whole trying to run all that stuff in that with it. There's just 2 things with it. I don't know if that cutesy stuff's going to work, and I know that that's part of like Hayes' scheme and things like that, but I just didn't like it. Smith is your guy. Get him the ball. I think they did a good job of trying to get him the ball. Once they got things rolling in the second half, kind of figured some things out. They got the running game going a little bit better. In those short yardage situations, you give the ball to Smith. You give it to Devion Smith. You don't give the ball to Ford. You saw that Ford, got his rear end knocked back, and he was the one that had the fumble in this game. So I think that you kind of leave the ball there in that setting. The wide receivers, I thought that they did all right. You had the nice catch by Smallwood. You had the nice catches by Vaughn there. It really did. Sal Calinella was the guy that they kind of targeted here, which it kind of, he is a nice piece to have here and on this team. But there's room for improvement all around this offense. I don't think that this offense is at their peak. The thing that really kind of surprised me here was their defense. I was really surprised by how well their defense played. All the way around. You had, Will Clark was all over the place, even though he didn't really have a lot of stats here. You had Ballsby that had the pick six, which was huge. Did a really good job, Willen. Watching the quarterback on that. It was really cool to see the big guy, be able to rumble and tumble down the field. You got to always love that. Barnes, if you remember, he was the guy with the, didn't want to play in the USFL because he was going to go off and he was going to be a software engineer. And then, they said that he was over 400 pounds. And why is he playing football again? Well, because he lost weight. So, you're kind of like, well, so what was the deal? Was it really, when you listen to all the stories about him not wanting to play in the USFL, so what really was it, that, or was it the weight thing, or was it, I don't know, but it was really cool to see him have a good day. This defense shocked me. I was shocked how well Jay Hayes put this team together. They were a little befuddled early with Luis Perez, but that second half they figured him out, and they really gobbled him up, got sacks on him. I was just super impressed, by their ability to get to the quarterback, and so Adaye, I think that. Hopefully I pronounced his name right. He was all over that place. Schooler, all over the place again. Schooler, you were looking up and he's part of the play. They did a really nice job in the second half, and it was really the defense that won this game for them. When you look at the overall team stats here, and kind of moving down, looking at these stats, total yards about the same, and of course, the Vipers had more. When you're looking at it, first downs about the same. The rushing is obviously it was better, but neither one was really great. Third down efficiency. The thing that is the huge thing, or the turnovers. I mean, that was really, really key here. The turnovers, you see the penalties, that was kind of a big thing too. Yeah, they had 8 more penalties, and that was one of the things that Rod Woodson was kind of he was kind of harping or chirping at the refs at, but I didn't really I felt like they deserved them. It really wasn't anything that wasn't deserved there. So, all in all, it was a really good way to start things off. It was a good it was nice. It was good to see. So I'm really pleased with that. Looking forward to watching this second game. Well, game 2 was interesting at first, but as the game went on, the Roughnecks things just got out of hand. And we'll break everything down, but man, do I love the XFL. I mean, come on, the open mics, the access that we get, it's toned down this time from 2020. It isn't just this like craziness, but man, you gotta love Wade Phillips, at least for his honesty. I mean, the guy is just he just lets out whatever he thinks, and it's just absolutely hilarious. And it doesn't seem like he cares if he knew that there was a mic hot or there wasn't a mic hot. I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't seem like he cared. And that's one of the things I love about the XFL. Again, going back to the officiating, like I said before, I thought it was great. And the way that they called the touchdown in the end zone and how it was called, and Dean Blandino going ahead and explaining it like he did just makes all the sense in the world. Listen here, this is kind of partly the Roughnecks being a better team than the Guardians, but also too, it really came down to coaching in this one, and I thought that the Roughnecks did exactly what I thought that they would do. They confused the offense, and they really just came at the quarterback and their offensive line. They just didn't have an offensive line, and it really, really showed. That first quarter, I thought we were going to actually have ourselves a game, and things looked pretty good. They kept Paxton Lynch upright, and they did well. And the other thing is they actually ran the ball in the the Guardians ran the ball in that first quarter, and once they started getting down, they kind of quit doing it. Calvin Taylor, he had 5 carries for 28 yards. The man was running the ball all over the place on this Roughnecks defense. They couldn't figure anything out, and then they got down a little bit. They missed a field goal, and now we just get rid of the run. I like that. You were doing well running. I don't get it. When I looked at the quarterbacks, I mean, yeah, Quentin Dormity's throwing the ball all over the place coming in late in the game, and Paxton Lynch is running for his life. I mean, nobody playing quarterback for that team right now is going to do anything. Their offense is just dismal. Their defense actually wasn't terrible. They just got put in, a lot of bad positions, and, they gave up some stuff. But yeah, it's just too much one-sided, just throwing the ball. When you're throwing the ball, I mean, crazy. It sounds like, I mean, that there should be more passes than what there were, but there wasn't. Like, they were passing everything all the time, but they only had 39 attempts total, which was kind of crazy. Brandon Silvers had more than they did by himself, and so that was just kind of odd, but. Looking at it, I think that Lattimore, he's a guy who I think was going to be a great one for him. Let's see here. I mean, they've got some decent guys. Rogers had the muff, punt return, and missed some things here and there. They've got some guys. Really there in the wide receivers, Rambo, Jamal, and I think that they'll do well. They got to figure out some cohesiveness on offense, and for whatever reason, Ford, who's been their offensive coordinator, been around a while. I don't know why they just went to all pass. It didn't make sense to me. They weren't down that much, and remember, you can get 9 points in a possession. So I was kind of taken back by that a little bit. I don't know. I liked the way that Paxton Lynch played at first. It seems like Quentin Dormity might have the upper hand here. I seem to like the way that he played towards the end of the game. He threw 2 picks, but hey, when your coach is just telling you to fling the ball around the field, that's what's going to happen. They did have the fumble, but that, I mean, they were already out of reach by that time with it. On defense, Matt Elam, he can, the dude can still play. He showed it very, very well. Looking at things, Jacoby Jones, which we knew Jacoby Jones was good. 2 sacks on this game. Wiggins played well with Wiggins and Co. were all over the place. I just felt like this team just. Unfortunately, Wade Phillips is right. It comes down to coaching, and I felt like they gave up on the run in the second quarter, and that's what was kind of keeping them in the game. The reality is that, when they missed the field goal, they were still only down, 9 points at the time. So it was something like that, 9 points or something. I mean, close like that, or they would have been down 9 points had they, I'm like, you gave up on things too quickly, and I think that allowed the Roughnecks defense, which I think is actually going to be a really good defense. Wade Phillips and his 3-4 defenses have always been good, and he has some real big studs over there. Brandon Silvers, I don't know. Listen, he's a guy that's going to fling the ball around. He's going to take some shots, and it's going to end up being like you had. He's going to throw some touchdowns. He's going to have some interceptions. That's just how it's going to be. The hope here is that he's going to do better. His betters are better more than his misses, and as long as you can get him to hit more than miss, I think you're good there. Borgie, good night. That man is shifty. And he is very, very hard to break down. It's really weird. It's like he's almost got grease all over him. Guys just fall over him. I thought he was fantastic, running the ball, catching the ball. I mean, the guy's going to get a shot in the NFL. He's going to be really good. I thought with the Roughnecks, their offense, naming it the Mike Leach offense, I thought was pretty good. I do like how they kind of clarified, and it made sense too. It is kind of a modified run and shoot / air raid type of an offense, and I could see that. As they had developed the pass, they started adding in more runs, and it started working more and more with it. But they did a really good job of picking up guys that they knew that could play in the scheme in which they had it, and Borghi. He balled out. Kirkland did a fantastic job here. Harris as well. I mean, these guys did a good job of figuring out where they needed to be. Burnett, Burnett was really, he's kind of one of those guys that they needed to really. They needed to find their deep guy, and I think that they found him there. This is going to be a really, really hard Roughnecks team to beat, which kind of figured with this. So defensively wise, oh my gosh, they stud after stud after stud. I can go down the list. Trent Harris, 4 sacks. How in the world do you do that? I'm sorry, it's like you almost have to give the guy the game ball for that. And then you look at guys like 23, Sean Davis. You got an interception, five. Good night. You have 5 tackles. I just keep going down the list. Tim Ward, 2 sacks. They just ran rough shot all over them all day long. Beckett had a interception. Harris had an interception. Davis had an interception. I mean, the guys just they were just relentless on defense. I mean, and it just was next man up, and they were just continuously it just seemed like they were all just getting in this game and having fun. And this is going to be a really, really tough defense to play against. And this defense is going to keep this team in games when their offense isn't clicking, which is the scary thing about it. Just insane with it. Not really much else to kind of say here. It was just kind of what I figured. The final score wasn't exactly what I thought it would be, but it was pretty close. I had it at 33 to 22 when they scored 12. So, and I picked the over, so I got both of those there. So I think I ended up being for the night, however you want to look at 3-1 or 2-1 with the push in picking the Renegades for the first game. But yeah, all in all, it was really fun. It was fun to watch. It kept me engaged the whole time. I liked watching these guys play. It meant stuff to the people out there on the field. You could tell they were having fun, enjoying themselves. I enjoyed myself watching them with it. I thought it was a great presentation, both of them. I thought the announcers did a pretty good job. They started getting into that ridiculousness in the first one with the whole trying to tell you what the play is and picking the play and, showing you how smart they are. It's like, stop it, guys. Just call the game and tell us the stuff about it. I don't need to know that a West Coast offense. I really don't. But yeah, so I think that this was a really, really good way for the XFL to start to have a really, 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 really close first game, and then the second game just have a really nice atmosphere with some big, plays that were happening in the game, and to have a really nice night with that. We'll see what day 2 brings. As always, I'm going to know your thoughts down in the comment section. Let me know what you think, and we'll continue the conversation on down there. All right, guys, listen, I know that you're busy, and I know that I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. Have a good night.